Well, hello everybody. I hope you're having a great weekend, or whenever you're watching this video, as I always say. Your weekend does look to have a level 3 severe weather threat on your Saturday and at least a level 2 severe weather threat on your Sunday. And it looks like even as we go into the upcoming week, we will have the potential for the South to see more of that severe weather. So in this forecast for America, that is going to be exactly what we're covering. It is Saturday, June 10th, 2023. The video is intended for the forecast through the rest of the weekend and into the work week, and throughout that work week, we will see more of those severe storms, so that coverage is especially going to be what this video focuses on. Now, first, I wanted to give a smoke update. We do still have some of these orange areas indicating unhealthy air quality for sensitive groups according to AirNow.gov. Some of that does go down into the southeast as well. But notice as we go into our Sunday, we're really going to see this pattern degrade enough to where the north winds and the upper levels will kind of fall apart, and that will help to keep our smoke in check. So it looks like your weekend will in general have decent air quality enough to where you can go outside and enjoy your plans, unless you're encountering some storms like we might be seeing in many communities on your Saturday and Sunday. So let's go ahead and get a look at those. You can see we have this cold front and an area of low pressure, especially the one coming out of the Dakotas, Minnesota, coming into Nebraska. That area is going to be the one that actually continues progressing further east, or as we go into the week, producing more rain and storms across the central and southern tier of the country for us here. Most of the east is dry unless you're in the northeast, where we still have that lingering low pressure system that's been keeping the smoke in some of those areas. We do have some rain and snow back into the Mountain West. We will be looking at some of these red zones for flooding for the day today, as well as that southern tier severe, and I'll give you a look at that in just a minute. Now, we've got many 90s right along the immediate Gulf coastline for us here. We've got some 80s going much further inland as well. And then look at this. We've got temperatures well into the 70s, near 80 in the northeast, so we will see a bit of a warm up there with 70s to near 80 as well further back to the north and west. You can see your severe weather outlook for your Saturday has a level 2 severe weather threat from southeast Oklahoma going over to western Mississippi back into South Texas, but our level 3 threat that includes Fort Worth and Waco over there into the Texarkana, the Arklatex region for us there. That includes Shreveport as well for the potential of some wind and hail primarily. Now, we will have some lingering thunderstorms that have come from your Friday night. Those are continuing into portions of Arkansas. Some of those could be rogue severe, but notice it's once we get to around 5 p.m. Central when we kind of get this boundary, southern Tennessee, back on over, especially into the Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana zone for us there, where we see some of these storms really blossom. I think Oklahoma will also see a few of these storms marginally severe back off towards the north and west, but look at how many of these storms we get. More of a line of storms than anything, so that's why it's more of a wind and hail threat as opposed to a tornado threat, because it's not as many supercells. And you can see as we go towards 11 p.m. Central Time, more of these storms pushing further south and east as well. Now, again, your hail threat, you don't have to have tornadoes to have the big threat for the day, and the hail threat today does include hail all the way on up to that baseball, that tennis ball sized hail. It is going to be big hail as you go into your afternoon, especially around Dallas, Fort Worth, Waco. Might have some insurance claims coming up in those areas after today, as well as in your eastern Texas and into southwest Arkansas and northwest Louisiana. We have a level 3 wind threat for you there, as well as a tornado outlook of a level 1 threat in portions of southern Oklahoma and into portions of Texas. So can't completely rule that out, as well as the flooding, level 2 flood threat for you there right around the Arklatex. We also have that going back up into the northern plains, back off into portions of Montana and eastern Wyoming. We'll keep an eye on those storms. Notice some of those areas in the far north cool off and dry out as we go into your Sunday for us here. But look at how this cool front is diving further south, really setting up a dynamic pattern of some of the flooding and severe into portions of the south central tier. Look at how this rain really stretches all the way back off towards the west coast. That entire front is going to be causing some impacts across the country. And you can see many temperatures in the 90s to near 100 into portions of Texas on your Sunday south of that front. Notice we're quite nice, 70s further north, so behind that front a little nice for there. We've got 70s to near 85 even into portions of the northeast, so it will be warming up, especially along that I-95 corridor now. Your level 2 severe weather threat on Sunday looks to come out of portions of Arkansas and go on over into portions of Kentucky, Tennessee, as well as over into Alabama for us there. Again, we could see some wind and hail out of those storms as these develop by around 4 p.m. Central. Notice how they're crossing the Mississippi at that time, as it looks right here with the FV3 high-res model for us here, continuing to push on off to the south and east. We could also see some just regular pop-up storms, maybe one or two of those going severe in the rest of the southeast, as this line continues to push south and eastward on your Sunday afternoon. Now, your flood risk, we have a level 2 flood risk, first of all, coming out of eastern Colorado, another one in portions of the Ohio Valley, and another one over here into the Tennessee Valley region for us there. Keeping an eye on all of those. Now, as we go into our Monday, look at this cold front pushing even further to the south. More just rain curling back around it into the Great Lakes, but we've got the storms along the eastern and southern tier, as well as some of the flooding concerns. And here we go, Monday afternoon. Notice those storms curl all the way back on up into the west. go along this Gulf Coast and then along the East Coast as well with that low pressure system. A really interesting shape of that cold front for us here, and that is going to provide at least a level 1 risk for their curling from the North Carolina, South Carolina coast down along the Gulf Coast and then back over here through portions of Texas and coming off the Rockies for us there. Just a really interesting situation for us there that will curl on up into portions of Colorado, of course. Now, again, there's that cold front. You can see the storms moving out of Oklahoma and into our Arkansas on Tuesday and Tuesday night, which is why we're looking at least medium to even medium to high certainty as we go into your Tuesday that we could see some of this coverage turn severe, especially into Arkansas. I'll be keeping an eye on that for you here as we go Wednesday into Wednesday night. More of those storms into portions of the south and east, which is why at least I have a medium risk for some of that activity to go severe coming out of portions of eastern Mississippi going on over into Georgia, around the Carolina coast as well. We could see at least a low end risk of some of those storms to go severe. Notice how those really, as the low pressure system degrades in Canada, we get more of these pop-up storms in the southeast. That's why we're at least looking at another day with a low end severe certainty as we go into our Thursday. And your temperature anomaly as we go towards midweek, notice we'll see some warmer trying to slide in behind this, but we're going to see a lot of patches of cool air where we get the storms and just where the low pressure front is kind of curling things, the flow back out of the northwest around the Great Lakes. So we'll keep an eye on that for you this week. More coverage coming up, so make sure you subscribe for more updates throughout the week and hit the like button. Here are the credits.